Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. So I posted in the Board Game Design Lab Facebook group yesterday that I'd be happy to have a look at some more rule books. I really do enjoy, for some reason, I'm I'm really interested in the process of learning games, communicating about games. I think it's just that like a language background, writing coach background, and then now that I've worked on several rule books, especially for Bedouin games, I can see the real need. That like if the goal is for players to get playing sooner than later, and to understand, have clarity about how things work. That's the main thing: is how do things work. Um, what I've seen is often the rulebook stands in the way, and so my priority tends to be something like, um, do I have a clear idea of how to get started, of how to manipulate components, how to find things if I have questions. So there are some rulebook writers that enjoy the narrative of the thing. They want the rulebook to be fun to read, for instance. And maybe their impression is that, well, I know rulebooks are a slog, or I know rulebooks are going to be an obstacle, so I might as well make it like a more pleasant obstacle. What that looks like to me is it's generally something like you're just adding words to the overall word count, adding confusion. I just want really clear, concrete rules so that I can get the rulebook out of the way. Just let's make it happen so I can start playing the game. The rulebook, in important ways, the rulebook is the game. But I would rather be, hanging out with my friends playing the game. So that tends to be my goal: is how to most efficiently get a clear understanding of how things work. So anyway, opened it up, got a bunch of responses. I'm happy to just be working through some of these. I don't know, maybe once a week, something like that. Let's call it a series. And it's the rulebook look. I decided to start with Fox Flip, from a designer named Ryan and maybe Danielle. And one of the reasons I'm here, I mean, who knows what order I'll go in, but this one looks fairly, obviously, very simple, and I think it's complete. So I just thought it'd be a nice bite-sized start, just to see how things go. And I do want to say, this is, in a way, it's just like it's a good exercise. If you find it helpful, just to see how somebody thinks about rules, may think about your rules, your rule book. I'm certainly not in a position to say I have all the answers for anything, but if you want to see somebody experience your rules as you've written them, that's mostly what's going to be happening here. There's lots of different ways to approach a rulebook, structure a rulebook, to style a rulebook, and I'm not claiming any sort of definitive or authoritative approach here. It's mostly I'm going to experience the rules, and hopefully that helps somebody, in particular the people that wrote the rules. And also, what I realize is I just got a text. So Oahu is dealing with more storms, and there's a really beautiful drive it's called the H3, goes through the mountains, and I've never seen the waterfalls going, but as you can imagine, we have a lot of with steep mountains. There's a kind of a cove of mountains. I want to describe it. Almost like a valley that goes up a little bit, where the road punches through a tunnel, and then it just opens up, and you can see. Apparently, I've never seen it, but you can see waterfalls all along the mountains as you drive into Kaneohe Kailua area. Anyway, just got a text that they're going off today, the waterfalls. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't remember where I was, but my aim here is not to criticize people. I think what I mentioned in my post, actually, maybe it would be slightly useful to go to that post. What I mentioned is sometimes this type of critique feels bad. That's not at all the intention. I think it is nice if somebody can, if I can come at this thing kind of gently. But the deal is, this rule book will stand between you, your player, and having a good time. And my experience has always been, like, let's be honest about things. Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to help move your product forward. And if I have something to say, of course you can deal with it however you like. In fact, I've had some interactions with a publisher where I said, you know what, it's probably best if you don't just go in and edit stuff and you don't tell me that you edited it. The thing is, like, I have a really clear idea of how we're being really consistent in language, and then this person would just come in and just like change things and use different terms and stuff, and then I would discover it later, and I'm saying, okay, like, that's up to you, but realize, like, what you're doing is you're destabilizing the rulebook and then the experience for the reader and the player. So anyway, I don't mean to say that I'm the only one who can be touching this rulebook, but when I give feedback, I usually have reasons for doing what I'm doing, and so the rulebook writer or the publisher can kind of take that for what it's worth. But my intention is always to help move the product forward. Yeah, so would you like 45 to 90 minutes of volunteer rulebook feedback from a pro rulebook editor? I struggle. You know what? This is an identity thing. Like, I realize that some people need to see this kind of thing in order to have some confidence in what I'm going to be offering. Like, I have a lot of writing coaching experience. I have a lot of writing experience myself. I mean, years and years. And technical writing is somewhat new, but within the last 3 or 4 years. But anyway, I've been paid to work on rulebooks, so I think it was time to say that. Okay, so I stream game design every day except Saturdays, part of that. Okay. I'll just do this. What to expect. 45 to 90 minutes of rules scanning a review. I read like a dummy and mainly look for big picture issues of structure, consistency, and clarity. Pretty good at it, to be honest. What to expect. What not to expect. Complete or super thorough copy editing a review of the rulebook from beginning to end. Like, I already saw that I have some pretty long rulebooks. I'm not going to get through, the full rulebook for the most part. This one I thought would be kind of a nice place to start because it is bite size. I also thought it was helpful that Ryan sent over these images to show where the rulebook folds. That was kind of nice. I think it's kind of obvious, but like, it's cool anyway. Like, that was thoughtful. So, right away the colors pop at me. I like that there's minimal text. I like that the rulebook lists itself. That's funny. That's funny to me. I would put the rulebook. I imagine this is not something that stands out to me as like normal, but certainly on a cell sheet, I might see that there's a rulebook in the components list. But yeah, I imagine some rulebooks refer to themselves, but I wouldn't think that that's necessary. These are really components strictly for gameplay. I would probably reserve that space. But nice thought. And it doesn't matter; it just takes up a little space. Objective: draw cards, grow the center pot. And by the way, I know nothing about this game. I really am just experiencing the game for the first time through this rulebook. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully it's perfectly seamless and I just read through a rulebook and have a nice time. So objective, draw cards, grow the center pile, and play special fox cards to outfox your opponent and win the pile. Of course, we were going to see outfox somewhere in here. Okay. Just continuing. It's interesting that they try to include, that Ryan tries to include some gameplay stuff in here, because I'm not sure an objective is to draw cards. I imagine drawing cards is like on the way to... I actually don't know what this means. The more I pause. Draw cards, grow the center pile, and place special fox cards. Okay, so the outfoxing is the objective, and win the pile. Okay. Oh, so this this boldface text is actually part of the objective section. I don't know why, but because it's set apart, yeah, and boldface, for some reason my eye didn't naturally just jump down here and then just like understand that. Yeah, that is kind of interesting. I didn't catch right away that this was part of... This is actually the objective. First player to 100 points. So this is a little gameplay description. It's like a mix, actually, because it's semi-thematic. But it doesn't matter. Okay, I think we're okay there. The first player to score 100 points wins. This will take 2 to 4 rounds. If we're talking about like every word being a tax, I feel like some of this kind of... Oh, interesting. Is a ballpark worth it? Like, how much information do I get if I know that it could take this long, or it could take twice as long as this long? I don't know. I don't know if that's like... Anyway. Don't want to overthink stuff. Just cruise through. Setup. Shuffle the deck and deal 7 cards to each player. Okay. So this is like... So you could play this game with playing cards. Right? And I imagine that's where Ryan started, was, okay, I have a deck of cards, what can I do? Okay, shuffle the deck and deal 7 cards to each player. Place the remaining cards face down between the players. For some reason, I'm just drawn to in the center of the play area. I don't know why. It doesn't really... I mean, this seems fine. Totally fine. The player opposite the dealer goes first. How many players? Oh, this is just a 2-player game. It says it right there. These are cute little hands. I like that. Okay, here's one thing. So just to be really consistent with terms, if something is listed in an illustration, or if an illustration is defined, like here I have 52 cards, and now suddenly I have a deck. For me, I know that most players most of the time are going to understand how cards transform into a deck. Not everybody's going to understand that, and I might be pedantic here in saying I think it's better to always build that bridge. Even though sometimes it'll add a few words, building that bridge I think is important. Shuffle the cards, right? Because I don't know that we're shuffling a deck. The cards make a deck. And I think you don't... imagine shuffling decks. I know what that means. I do know what it means. It's just shuffled cards form a deck. Okay, I don't want to get hung up too much here, but place the remaining cards. But this is what I was going to highlight. Place the remaining deck, I would say remaining cards, face down between the players to form a draw pile. Because here's what's interesting. There are 3 different ways to refer to the cards, right? There's the cards themselves, 52 cards. There's what they make up. There's what they comprise when they're together, and that is a deck. And then on the table, that deck becomes a draw pile. So these are 3 different ways. And you know what? There's probably going to be a hand as well. There is a hand. So it's just realizing that you're making players ping pong. Is that a good image? Like, again, I know that most players most of the time are going to know what you're talking about, but I just feel like it's generally safe to call things one thing and then build a bridge or translate that thing into another thing, making that very clear. Especially if you label. So imagine somebody who's like a super concrete thinker, like ridiculously concrete. And that's usually that's how I try to read, is that concrete thinker. No imagination at all. Literally no imagination at all. So check this out. So setup, shuffle the deck, deal 7 cards to each player. Fine, generally know what that means. Place the remaining deck face down between the players. The remaining, right, I already got kind of tripped up there. Place the remaining cards face down between the players. And you know what? I do expect Ryan to do some eye rolling, right? And I'm totally fine with that. But again, this is me experiencing the rules for the first time. Place the remaining deck face down between the players. The player opposite the dealer goes first. Now I look down into this illustration and I think, wait, where did the deck go? Where's the deck? Oh, the deck became a draw pile. There was this transmutation, transmogrification somewhere that happened at some point. And the deck became the draw pile. I think you need to build that bridge with language. Now, it's cool that we're starting with such a small game where I think you can get there's a lot of grace here. But especially with a bigger game where you've got players trying to track terms and there's lots of different groupings and categories of the same type of components, things need names so that players can hang on to those things, right? So they can have a really clear image in their minds of like, what is that thing that you're talking about? Oh, that thing is this stack of cards, right? So here, now I see deck, and then I look down and I say, wait, the deck is not there. Oh, it's a draw pile. So I have to spend the energy to understand that. It's fine. Small game. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot. But this is the kind of thing that happens a lot in rule books where you just kind of expect players to build their own bridges to things. And no, it's not an intentional thing. You're like, ha ha ha, like go ahead and spend some more energy on my rule book. I don't think you mean to do that. But it happens a lot because you are more experienced. You have a clearer idea of what you're offering. It's just really hard to describe that to somebody who doesn't have it already internalized. And this is also a very small thing, but the player opposite the dealer goes first. Okay. Player 1 and first player are the same thing, but they're still different, as in the terms are different. Not that they mean something different, but it's just odd to me to go with first player and then player 1. Also, I don't know why you would need, like I could just do dealer. You know what? Here's actually what I would do. I would say dealer because you talk about the dealer. Oh no, interesting. I still expected dealer to be here and then first player to be here. But not a big deal. a lot of these are just literally just judgment calls, and they are not the end of the world. I haven't seen anything that would completely break down my understanding of this game yet. I'm just looking in detail for those little moments of possible friction. Just little moments of possible friction, because I think the more friction you get when you're reading a rulebook, the less likely you are to play the game. Okay, how to play. The play phase. Play phase. How to play. Play phase. I know what you mean. I'm going to circle back, potentially. Player 1 starts play. Player 1 starts play by playing a card. I'm not making fun of anybody. That was just a lot. Player 1. Okay, so I just went from how to play to play phase to player 1 starts play by playing a card from their hand into the play pile. I don't know. I'm going to come back to that. I don't really want to workshop it yet, but I definitely am going to come back to that. Each player alternates turns, playing one card per turn. Any color of equal or greater value, or by following the fox card rules. Okay. I think this is more general introduction of the process than this thing. So I probably wouldn't give this thing that much attention. So I might do something like just to squeeze on by. I might say something like, starting with the first player, each player alternates turns by playing one card into the play pile, and then introduce the restrictions, the limitations on, or the constraints on what can be played. So in general, I know I'm going to be playing cards. Okay, which cards can I play? Oh, it's this type of card, or something like that. Not a big deal. Whenever a player can't play, is this the first? Okay, this is the first contraction we're seeing. I'm not sure. It's fine. It's casual. Keep it light. Whenever a player can't play a card, flip the top card of the deck. See, it's back to a deck. But over here, it's a draw pile. Onto the play pile. Okay. Flip the top card of the deck onto the play pile. The flipped card will determine whether play continues or someone wins the pile. Okay, here's an issue. Excuse me. This is why I would like a little overview of the process. I'm being invited to understand that I'm winning piles and how that works before I know what winning a pile is, or what it does, or what it means. So, to win the pile, okay. Yeah, because this, I might actually put a little overview, even though this is a very, very small rulebook, I might put a little overview up here, because whenever a player, because I don't know the implications here, and I think asking me to just carry this in my mind until I understand all the pieces is a little too much work, even for a small game like this. So whenever a player can't play, each player alternates turns, playing one card per turn of equal or greater value, or by following the fox card rules. Okay, and then I might have a little description about what it means to win a pile somewhere up here, so that it gives me context to understand this paragraph. Whenever a player can't play, flip the top card, because this also sounds a little exceptional, right? It sounds like maybe this doesn't happen all the time. So it'd be nice to demote this paragraph. Right now, it feels like it's doing a lot of work, and it's kind of like it feels important, but I don't even know what winning a pile means yet. And now we're talking about this little thing that could happen and maybe doesn't always happen. Whenever a player can't play, flip the top card of the deck onto the play pile. Onto the play pile, right? By the way, I do really like that, at least like so far, I think Ryan is pretty consistent with capitalizing. Like play pile has been capitalized consistently from what I can tell. Oh, win the pile is over here, not the play pile. That's okay. The flipped card will determine whether play continues or someone wins the pile. I know we're going to get to a section on winning the pile. I guarantee that that's what we'll see pretty soon. But this still feels context-less. It feels like I need some context to care about what I'm reading here. Okay, you know what? The good news is that's the first page. Here's the second page. Oh, interesting. There is no section. There's no label for winning a pile. There's no, I can't tell, there's not like a place my eyes can scan and understand very quickly, like, how do I win a pile? How does that work? Okay, let's continue though. Flipping a card. If the top card of the play pile is a regular card, this is a new term. I am very much leery of using something like this. A regular card. You have not defined. I'm very sorry, Ryan, but I had it open twice. Okay, but I don't. This is a brand new distinction to me because because these are all 52 cards. They're all just listed there together. And I know you mentioned something about... Okay. Draw cards. Grow the center pile and play special fox cards to outfox. Okay, at what point are we getting into the technical language, into terminology? That's what I want to know. Usually, like the thematic, that introduction area of a rule book, I don't mind. Like, we're not dealing with terminology yet. It's just whatever language you want to use that you think applies and builds out the theme. But at some point, you need to get into terminology mode. And it doesn't look like we're in terminology mode yet. Also, wait a minute. Grow the center pile. Isn't this the play pile? That's why I came back over here. Looking for capitalized play pile. Is it a center pile or is it a play pile? Certainly pick one of those. I would never... I don't know. Maybe I'm taking back what I said, but I would never give two different names to that thing, whatever that is. Is it the center pile? Because you could say the pile in the center of the table and maybe then label that pile later, label it the play pile. But even then, there are like two piles in the center, draw pile and play pile. But anyway, I think consistency in terms needs to start early. And there's one more example where I would clean that up for sure. Okay, and then you know what? I actually don't even know exactly what I would say here, but I would not label it. I wouldn't give it a label. This feels like a label. Unless you call it the play pile. Unless you're comfortable early in the process calling it a play pile, I would say something like the pile in the center or the I don't know, call it the play pile. Grow the center pile. Also, wait a minute. Are you drawing cards? I also haven't seen when you draw cards. I think you draw cards at the end of the round. So it's odd to me to start with draw cards here, because you're setting my expectations to draw cards as the first thing that's part of my objective, but that doesn't happen. It looks like to me like you draw cards at the end in the draw phase. So I would shape people's expectations differently here. I think I would. Yeah. I actually don't get the flow of the game from here. Because is this the only time you say grow? Because other times you say play, and that's what grows the thing. Anyway, I don't know. This is maybe a little too much. Okay, flipping a card. If the top card of a play pile is a regular card, yeah, I would find a way to distinguish between card types before this moment. The flipped card must be equal to or greater value to continue playing. I can't say I love this. I don't really know what's happening. If the top card of the play pile is a regular card, the flipped card must be equal or greater value to continue playing. Wait. Because this is whenever a player can't play, flip the top card. Wait, why is it not in this section? Why is this? I think Ryan, you're making you want this to be a transitional paragraph, but actually it is a rule in the flipping a card section. It's a rule that pertains to flipping a card. So I would mention this in the flipping a card section. I think. I don't know. Maybe not, but I think so. Okay, so if the top card of the play pile is a regular card, wait a minute. Oh. Okay, so I'm flipping a card, I'm checking the top card in the play pile. Now I'm flipping a card and putting it on top, and I look at that card, and it needs to be equal to or greater than the value of the card on the top of the play pile. Okay, I think I know what that means. If the top card of the play pile is a fox card, the flipped card must satisfy the current fox card's rule to continue playing. Note, if you ever flip a fox card, continue playing regardless of what the top card of the play pile was. If the flipped card doesn't meet the condition to continue playing, the other player will collect the cards from the play pile and set them aside to be scored later. This I'm having a hard time with. Out of cards or can't play flip, that's your turn. Why is this a note? This is a reminder, right? Out of cards or can't play flip, that's your turn. Oh, wait a minute. This does not mention that that's your whole turn. Yeah, it's weird that comes out, the fact that this is your turn, it's a little bit odd that it's in a note. Okay, so I think also there's a kind of a heading issue I'm having. So how to play is clearly a heading 1. How to play. Clearly a heading 1. That's like the highest order heading you have. In my view, contents, objective, and setup are also headings 1. They're all essential sections. And then if you were to look through the outline of this rulebook, you would see contents, objective, setup, how to play. Under how to play, then you'd have other headings. So like heading 2. And notice that they're different styles as well, right? That's my point. It said objective, setup, and how to play. I would expect, including contents too, I would expect those headings to have the same style. Then, in getting into heading 2, now here's the play phase and the draw phase. Under heading 2, there's another heading with a different style, which is flipping a card. What else? What other headings can you imagine being here? So, I want to see like an on your turn kind of. Usually, there's a label like how to taking a turn or a player's turn, right? There'd be so like within a phase there must be turns, right? And so that's why I would expect underneath play phase. I don't know that play phase. Maybe it's essential. I don't know. But under play phase, I would want more subheadings. Like how to break this up. Playing a card. Flipping it. Oh, the reason why it should be playing a card is because you also have flipping a card. Right? Those are two essentially different types of turns. So I would want a playing the card section and a flipping a card section. Right? And importantly, those sections should have different style headings. You can imagine it could be very confusing to have flipping a card and draw phase look like they are of the same importance. They're certainly not. But the heading style leads the reader to believe they are of the same importance. That's what this formatting is all about. It's what matters. Where do I find the section I need? Right? What are the comparable sections? Oh, this has this, anyway, it's a kind of types of information thing. So I would add levels of headings or remove levels of headings, but be consistent. Yeah. I have to say, I feel this section is pretty confusing. And maybe it's because maybe it's the game itself. Like I'm not acting as a developer here, and I think that's an important thing. I've heard about this too from other rulebook editors. You want to go into developer mode sometimes because you have a feeling the game could be stronger with certain changes made. This area to me feels like it could use some development. And it could be just in the way the rules are presented. It could also be in the way the game is played. But I don't love all these checks. Actually, I'm dealing with this in Party Wave because there are all these like conditional situations. Like if this is true, then that. And just having a list of a bunch of those, for me, kind of like that little decision tree where you're like looking up, like, okay, this is true. Where do I? Okay, well, let me see. Okay, if this is true, then do this. If this is true, okay, well, neither of those are true. Where's the thing? Oh, this one is true. Okay, if this is true, then do that. And I think it's kind of hard to internalize that sort of arbitrary list. And so cutting down that list to me seems very, very important. And if this is meant to be super lightweight, I'm sure he's done a lot of playtesting. I'm sure it's in pretty good shape when you teach the game. But like this does not feel mass market necessarily because of this section so far. Because you're gonna have players just trying to remember, okay, wait, if it's a regular card, what do I do? If it's not if it's a fox card, wait, if the top card of the play pile is a fox card, then I do this. Oh, but wait, if I flip a fox card, that's different. So I think just this area itself might limit its mass market appeal. It's just a feeling I have, but it's somewhat because I feel like there's a fair amount of inconsistency in this section because you're introducing a bunch of new terms. And was it a bunch? No, that's not quite fair, but a regular card was the big one that stood out to me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling with this section here. Okay, draw phase. Alternate turns. Drawing one card per turn. The max hand size is 7 cards. Once a player has 7 cards, they must play a card on their next turn. This starts the play phase. It's possible that one player won't have 7 cards when starting the play phase. This is not, I don't know what the reasoning here is, but this doesn't strike me as like an interesting thing to do. So it feels like unnecessary rules. I feel like there's maybe some implication about a player. Wait, the player who lost the play phase goes next by restarting the draw phase. Okay, we've never started the draw phase, so I wouldn't have restarting going on here. Remember, well, this is how I think of it. I'm reading the rule book from start to finish for the first time. So I haven't. I'm just going through like, okay, so we're ending the play phase, and now we're hitting the draw phase. But I'm hitting the draw phase for the first time. And so that's why this stood out to me as a little bit odd that I'm restarting the draw phase. I'm not restarting it. I've never done it before. So like I'm trying to internalize how things go, right? Before we play. And now I get it. Like there will be cycles here. And so eventually I'll restart. But right now I'm just reading from top to bottom through the rules. And so restarting feels out of place to me. Okay, now I don't want to be in developer mode. I don't understand why this is here. The draw phase. It feels like unnecessary rules overhead. As in, you could just say draw back up to 7 cards and play continues. There must be a reason, but adding these steps I feel is kind of awkward. And the thing is, like, like I'm counting my cards. Okay, wait, I think I have 7. Oh, wait. Okay, so wait, you drew. So you are on your 6th card. I'm on my 6th card. Okay, I'm going to draw my 7th. Okay, now we continue. We go back to the play phase. Oh wait. Oh, you missed. Oh, you missed. There was a card behind your. There was one hiding back there, and then okay, but you actually, so you had 7 cards first. Like, just draw back up to 7, and figure out how to continue play. Now, I understand there'll be a little bit of like, I'm sure Ryan has reasons. So Ryan, I apologize. I don't mean to be hard on your game here, but the implications are not clear to me as to why we should go through this, spend this extra energy just to basically get back up to 7 cards. I don't know that it's more or less interesting to have 6 or 7 cards, or maybe if you lose a whole bunch, then the winner is just going to have fewer options. That's the idea. But with such a small random game, I don't know that like it playing with the odds is not especially important. And I don't mean random like in a like a really negative way, but obviously there's a lot of randomness here because you're just flipping cards off the pile, right? And in such a light game, I feel like adding these technical steps for maybe tweaking the odds, that feels off to me. Like, I don't want to remember. Okay, wait. Did you get to 7 cards? Like I don't want to have to go through those checks and like, just let me. Okay, I'm gonna draw cards until I have 7. All right, you're good to go. 7. Okay, perfect. Maybe I'm overthinking it there, but I don't understand the rationale here. But I don't have to. I'm just looking at the rulebook. Okay, scoring. A round ends when all cards have been won. I don't know what this means. When all cards have been won. I actually don't know how to win cards yet. When a player can't play, wait, each player. Okay, how do I? Okay, until someone. Okay, the flipped card will determine whether play continues or someone wins the pile. Or someone wins the pile. That's what all this is about, right? Wait, so no matter what, it's the card that flips off the deck that determines whether or not you win? Wait, if the top card of the play pile is a regular card, the flipped card must be equal to... Wait, if the top card... Okay, here I think it is. If the flipped card doesn't meet the condition to continue playing, I just imagine like Ryan's like freaking out. Like, it's right there. It's right there. I swear it's right there. I think I need a section that says winning a pile or winning the pile or something. Okay, if the flipped card doesn't meet the condition to continue playing, the other player will collect the cards from the play pile and set them aside to be scored later. Okay. So, if the flipped card doesn't meet the condition, what are the conditions? Okay, so if the card is lower in value than the card on the play pile, if the card does not meet the Fox cards rule, then okay, it's my turn, right? I cannot play. I flip a card, and if if that card happens to meet the conditions, we continue playing. So I assume it becomes your turn. Okay. I think that's what continuing playing means. Okay, but if it does not meet the conditions, then I lose and you take the cards. Okay. Wait. The player who lost the play phase goes next by restarting the draw phase. So let me think about this. So, okay, it's my turn. I can't play a card. I flip a card. Okay, that flip fails, right? So now what I do? Okay, that flip fails. Do I add the card? Okay, I think it did say that I flip it onto the pile, right? So I flip it onto the pile. There's something going on here because, oh, maybe it's as simple as you're asking players to remember the card underneath the flipped card. Maybe that's a little bit odd to me. But anyway, so the main thing is that card that I flipped is on the pile. Okay, so I can't play. I flip a card. That card gets added to the pile. It fails. So you take the cards, and then I draw a card. So you take the play pile, I draw a card, then you draw a card, then I draw a card, until one of us has 7. Okay. This does sound fast-paced. It sounds like there are some thrilling moments. I feel like maybe I'm coming across as a little negative here. Um, hmm. The player who lost the play phase begins the draw phase. Isn't that the same thing? The player who lost. I don't love this because we haven't really defined super clearly what winning and losing is. Like, oh, you can lose a whole phase. Wait, are you winning the pile or are you winning the phase? Are you losing the pile or are you losing the phase? I feel like there's a kind of consistency issue here. Also, I wonder, can you hear the beeping? There's the apartment building next door. Like, that beeping has been going on for hours. And I don't know why. Also, I think, yeah, if I did not win the pile, I'm the loser. Okay. Okay, draw phase, we got through that already. Now scoring. A round ends when all cards have been won. This, I really don't know how this works or what this means. Because if... Yeah, because what do you do... Okay, how does it work? Okay, so the draw pile is empty, right? The draw pile is empty. Let's just imagine we're close to the end of the game, and let's say it's my turn. I have 2 cards. You have 1 card, and mine is I have a 1 and a 3. You have a 2. The draw pile is empty. So I play my 1, you play your 2, I play my 3. You're out of cards. So what do you do? what do you do? Because there's no card to flip, obviously. You can't play, so you'd expect to be able to flip a card, but the draw pile is empty. So what do you do? In that case, like, who wins the cards? I mean, this happens at least 3 or 4 times during the game, right? Because the draw pile. What I think this means is like we have to go through all of these cards. By the way, that kind of sounds tedious. To get through 52 cards like this, 7 cards at a time, and then count the cards, 1 card equals 1 point. Wait a minute. Keep track of each other's total points for the round. Continue playing rounds until a player has 100 or more points. Swap dealers each round. Okay. Okay, this is actually not the scoring section stuff. This is a reset for the next round kind of section stuff. Swap dealers each round. Like, scoring happens... Oh, where's the end of the game section? I guess it's all kind of contained here. Okay. Count the cards. Count which cards? Okay, what did you call this before? I think this was somewhere over here. Oh, here it is. If the flipped card doesn't meet the condition to continue playing, the other player will collect the cards from the play pile and set them aside to be scored later. Okay, so there we are. We have cards set aside. Count the cards. So I would definitely want some very quick indication of which cards. I know that could be irritating, but yeah. Continue playing rounds until a player has 100 more points. Swap dealers each round. If both players have more than 100 points during the same round, the player with the most points wins. Okay. If tied, continue playing the game until the tie is broken. Okay. Okay. The Fox card special rules. Now, wait a second. Going back, I think it's at the beginning here. Special Fox cards. This is a little thing. It's a very little thing. But Fox cards, this just feels odd to me that there are Fox cards special rules, but then over here there are special Fox cards. I don't know why that stands out to me as a little bit grating, but it does. Okay. Oh wow, this is about an hour or I'm almost done with the stream. Let me just look at the rest of this. Okay, when drawn, play now. When a 1 card is drawn, ooh, I don't love this shift in voice here. Whenever, this is passive, right? Whenever a 1 card is drawn during the draw phase, the player who drew it must play it now. Okay, I think we're going to run into some issues here. Especially like, when do effects trigger? Do effects trigger? So that's, I mean, I'm not a great Magic player, but I play with a lot of Magic players. I play a lot of games with a lot of very good Magic players. And these guys would really struggle with this kind of thing because they care about card effects, card triggers, when do things happen, exactly how, and when do they happen. So whenever a 1 card is drawn during the draw phase, the player who drew it must play it now. Okay, so they draw the 1. Let's say it is the first card I draw. Okay, so I play that card, and now we go back to a play phase. Immediately begin the play phase, starting with the next player. Okay, any 1 cards dealt in the setup phase are not played immediately. Play these cards like a regular card during the play phase. Oh, I see. And I assume this is what I was thinking about. I assume when I flip it, if the top card of the play pile is a fox card, the flipped card must satisfy the current fox card's rules. Okay, if you ever flip a fox card, continue playing regardless of what the top card of the of the play pile was. Okay, so this number 1 card is just, it says when drawn, play now. So I can assume that nothing happens when I flip this card. It's just because it's when it's drawn. Okay. All right, now this one. Whenever a 3 card is played, the next player must play a 3, 6, 9, or 12 card on their next turn. Okay. I'm on board with that. Okay, whenever a 7 card is played, the next player must play a 7 card or lower on their next turn. Okay, so this is the case that rules exception was talking about. The top card of the play pile is a fox card. The flipped card must satisfy the current fox card's rule to continue playing. Okay, so if a 7 is on the top of the pile and I happen to flip an 8, then my opponent gets those cards, I think is what's happening there. Okay, whenever a 10 card is played, the next player must play the same color card. Ooh, very exciting. Whenever a 10 card is played, the next player must play the same color card on their next turn. Can be higher or lower. Ah. Okay, so in that case, this is on the top of the pile. I can't play a flip, and it just has to be purple if that's the color of the 10. Note, if you can play from your hand, if you can play from your hand, you must play. Only flip when you can't play. This needs to be more prominent in the play phase. That's a really important rule, and it should not be set off to the side as a note. Okay, when the draw pile runs out, continue playing with the cards left in your hand. Can't play and no cards to flip. The other player wins the pile. There it is. There it is. So this structurally to me is really difficult. Is odd. This is a really important idea because it's the end of the round, right? And you know what's interesting is there's no sense in the headings. Okay, I know this is like a light kids game thing, but it still feels like I would want like a round overview. I would still probably want a round overview because I think that would actually get a lot of work done for you. A round overview. Yeah. Also, headings wise, it's one thing I may want to split things up a little bit. Let's see, a round overview. Players play cards one at a time, turn by turn, into a play pile. what was it? And score, and what was this? I think maybe there's an end of round section. That's what maybe we're missing, an end of round section, because that's where scoring would go. That's where swapping dealers would go. So maybe an end of round section might be more effective. End of round and then end of game section. End of round, end of game. I feel like that could help. And it would give a home for some of these things. Yeah, the round ends when the draw pile runs out. And all cards in your hand have been played. That's the whole rulebook. Nice. It is nice that it's so contained. It's it does sound like a very simple game. Sounds very light. It definitely celebrates randomness here in this section. That flipping a card is very, very important. Yeah, and I can also see, because like I kind of understand the feeling that led to this happening. You get these little situations. It's a light game. It's a very breezy, simple game. But then you get these little situations that are kind of hard to describe. And it's really hard to achieve the kind of elegance of design that rules these out. And I see that issue here. And I know you sense that, Ryan. I know you sense that. It's like, this game is so close to being super elegant, but then it has these little weird things that happen. Like the end of the round is weird. So you need to add these little special rules. And for me, that means there's some design potential here, right? I know the game is generally and pretty much done, but I think there might be some solutions that could clean out some of these odd, like exception-y type rules. I don't know what they are, but I think often they exist, and sometimes they're painful to find. But yes, like you sense that there's something weird going on at the end of the round, so you gave it its own. You threw the details off somewhere in their own little world. That's because you sensed that the rulebook was getting complicated. And if the rulebook for such a light game is getting complicated, like this is very complicated. As in, like you feel it, and I feel it because of these little notes that show up, and they're not necessarily like in a great spot. Like this one, as I said, out of cards or can't play, flip, that's your turn. Like this is a kind of odd moment to drop this in. But you've got this, my feeling, this is not a condemnation by any means, but I think you have the feeling that that the game is more complicated than it should be. I think you have that feeling, and that, to me, that shows up in the rulebook. So, was that Francisco? Oh, no worries at all. I'm sure you've been busy and productive. I was looking through my first rulebook look invitational rulebook. So thanks for jumping in on that and letting people know I'm not a shell or some weird guy just trying to steal their ideas. So yeah, it's been kind of nice. No, editing a podcast. Yeah, good. Yeah, this one is from Facebook. Right. Yeah, from yesterday. It's actually kind of a fun process. I started here because this one is a really small rulebook, so at least I could like get to the end and see how it goes. We're over an hour already, but yeah. So I'm just kind of wrapping this one up. You know what? A typical time these days, no, because I'm out of school and I've been staying up late, so I've been having slower mornings. When I'm in school, I have to fit in the stream at like 6 or 6:30, so that feels more consistent. But that would be like 9 or 9:30 for you. All right. Yeah, because we're 3 hours different again. We were 2 hours for. Yeah. Oh, Francisco, you should never feel bad. That's such a nice thing to say. You know, it's funny. Mike Nichols showed up on that. Right, he commented. I don't know if you saw that, but he commented and he said, "I've got the rule book. I've got a rule book, a short 2-page rule book, and you can play test the game and like do a little blind play test. Very short rule book for a simple game." And I told him same thing I told you, which is it's a very different thing to internalize the rules so that I can actually play. It's very different from just reviewing the rules. To then like have to actually go back and remember like how to actually move components around. That's like way more. But the other thing is, I said I miss you, and I let him know I missed him. That was it. Yeah. Well, anyway, as I mentioned in the description on that, or the in the post yesterday, this is not super thorough. I mean, I feel like I had a nice time going through it. Noticed a few things, definitely structural changes. I would suggest most of it has to do with actually like how to section things and what headings to give those sections, and then of course how to style those headings. I think that would make a big difference here. But I also imagine there are some design decisions you can make that would lead to a little more elegance and could help you condense the rulebook even more, clarify the rulebook even more. But yeah. Anyway, Ryan, thanks for sharing, and yeah, let me know if this was helpful for you. But yeah, I think that's it for now. For where'd it go? Or did I close it already? I think I did. For Fox Flip. Fox Flip. Cute, light, family friendly. All right. So I do think I'm going to move on to. What did I say? Solar Smugglers. I kept missing the opportunity like yesterday or the day before too, I think. Let me check in and see where I'm at with that. So how's the podcast? And how long does it take you um to edit an episode? Yeah, how long does it take you to edit one episode typically? So also, I just heard about a commander format or mode. I think it's better to say mode in this case, where there's more of a like a social deduction thing happening. Basically, basically, let me adjust some things. So in that commander mode, there's a king, there's a knight protecting the king. The knight wins if the king dies, obviously the king loses, and no, there it's like Bang. So there's different characters that want different things, and they're trying to kill somebody specific, and so it sounds pretty interesting, like Bang, or like it. It sounds most like Bang with the sheriff, and then the deputy's trying to protect the sheriff. And of course, that is the case in many of these social deduction games, Werewolf and what have you. But yeah, it sounded cool because it gives reason. It gives a different type of reason for people to attack each other, and like maybe things would develop a little more interestingly and maybe a little more slowly, so I could get my decks in action. So chugging along, it takes about, okay, yeah. So 1.25 times the length of the podcast to edit. That's pretty good. So I did a lot of transcription when I was doing my doctoral work. And so I'd done, I think, like 20 to 25 hours of interviews, and I had to transcribe all of that. And I did it by hand. Now there are much better tools like that do automatic transcription. What the trick I found was back then, and that was 10 years ago. Can you believe it? I was doing my doctoral work 8 to 10 years ago in that window. And YouTube had just rolled out the ability to like to have automatic captioning, or like generated, whatever was automatically generated captions. And so I uploaded my interviews, had Google transcribe everything, and then I went back in and fixed it. That was very tedious. It was a pain. And what that translated to was 3 to 5 times the length of the interview. So, like, to actually edit the transcription. And that was with having like a pedal and everything. I don't know if you've ever used a transcription pedal, but like a playback pedal, where you like hit one part of the pedal and it plays forward. You hit another part of the pedal and it reverses. So you can imagine I'm just in my room listening to these students' interviews, transcribing, and just like suffering. You know, my neck, everything going poorly. Like I was in a lot of pain. I think a pedal. Have you seen a pedal? Have you seen these before? I think you could definitely use one for your podcast. I don't know what to call them now. Yeah, these guys. So you can like define what the buttons do. This is actually the one I have, I think. A USB foot pedal control. Yeah, so like the middle, it says play right there. But I think, I mean, they're just buttons, so you can designate them however you want. I'm pretty sure. They give you a little software package, and you just say what you want each button to do. And then maybe, so if you hold your foot on play, it plays. You lift your foot off, it pauses. Maybe the right one is to reverse. Maybe the left one is, I don't know what I would have done with it, actually. Maybe it'd be like reverse 2 times speed or something like that. So anyway, these are really, really useful for playing stuff back and like working on it. So maybe with your podcast. I never thought of that, but it could be really helpful with editing like that. This is a gaming pedal? Whoa. I never heard of that. Okay. Yeah. Check it out, though. Man, when you have the right tools, everything is easier. I don't know what a tour box is. Is that an Amazon thing too? Tour box for editing. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's cool. You can imagine the main reason to get a pedal is because, like in my case, I'm transcribing, so I'm typing a lot. So jumping back and forth between like spacebar and mouse, like to control the playback is a huge problem, a big slowdown. So to just get another appendage involved is really useful. I don't know about just since your hands can be involved in all the editing and you're not typing anything, that makes a lot of sense. It's not as important. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, the reason I came over here was to have a look at Solar Smugglers. You know what it was? It was ending with the idea that it was your idea. Right here, I put the notes. Because I took a few more turns where I was in the process, but when you suggested just give players starting tokens, I never went back and play tested that at all. What I'm a little nervous about now that I'm thinking about it is that there would be some sense of like opening theory. Maybe that's fine. Maybe it doesn't matter. Or maybe I'm anxious for no reason. I think this one is up to date. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're supposed to have pretty bad weather. Actually, the rain is coming down pretty hard right now. I actually saw that there was a warning from the governor up north that like they're evacuating. I think they're evacuating up north. Haleiwa and Wailua. I think there's like the possibility of a dam failure up there somewhere. I didn't even know there was a dam. Okay, so in part of setup, this was the thinking. It was give everybody. I think it was to give everybody two missiles and one peak. So look what you've done there, Francisco. You really changed the world, didn't you? Also, can you hear the beeping that's happening? And then I'm going to save this. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. I don't know what it is. Some alarm going off in the building next door, and it's been going off at least I think before I woke up, and maybe even yesterday, but definitely this morning. It's been continuous. Yeah, bummer. Okay, so what's happening? So we get this. This is the first card that's up for auction. It's a battery, so it's kind of a big deal. Just a little bit frustrating. Okay. So let's just jump in with 1 credit, and we'll just do kind of a typical auction, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll have everybody pass, and then we'll see, we'll go from there. Okay, so we establish that red is the highest bidder, and then blue, then yellow, and then green. So this go away. Okay, so red is going to take 3 credits, 3 victory points, and a peak token. Blue takes a peak token. Yellow doesn't take anything, and green doesn't take anything, but they all take a battery because everybody participated. Okay, now in reverse order, you have green, who can spend any number of tokens right now. What does green want to look at? Let's say green... Okay, so we have the cop here who's going to be rotating. And so green might be interested in like a couple of the farthest away things. Let's have green look at this one right here. Okay, so finds that it's a gun. Now, they spent a peak token to do that. All right. And because they don't move, yellow like deduces that this is not a gun. Okay? So yellow is going, I'm sorry. Yellow guesses that this is not a battery. Otherwise, green would have gone and delivered the battery. So now yellow is going to check this one. What is this one? Okay, so it's a battery. Yellow checks, sees that it's a battery, spends a movement. Okay. So this was yellow. They cruise over here, and then they flip. It was a battery, as they saw. Okay, so they turn in their battery. They get 10 credits. See, like that almost feels like way too strong of an opening move. And they get that card. Okay, then this comes out. Like, that's just really strong. They spent 2 credits, got 10 credits back, and then... oh, interesting. But they are in harm's way here. Yeah, because now the other players are interested in, like, ooh, what is this? Because what they could do is they could be pretty mean. Oh, but this is a gun as well. So that was a peek. They don't move. I think... Do they just spend 1 peak? Do they care about the solar storm yet? Not yet. Well, see, like, this is kind of a lot for being the very first auction. Like, this is already kind of a lot, right? Because that's all they have. Why are they going for a battery? Because everybody has 1 battery. So they could turn it in anywhere, but they wouldn't get the card like this. They would turn it in. They would get let's say they drop off a battery on this location, then they get only 3 credits, and they don't get the card to their hand. It just gets discarded. So they're all very interested in finding a battery. Oh, you know what? Nobody knows what this is, though. Yeah, I think blue is actually going to check this one, too. Oops. Okay, yeah. Red? Red can't go there, so maybe they don't. I'll do it. Okay, water bottle. It's kind of neat that the cop is there, so like even if red found a battery, it wouldn't go. Wouldn't go there. Did they all win a battery at the auction or always start with a battery? Everybody who participates in the auction gets the item. So everybody spent credits, and so everybody gets the item. Yeah. Okay, so next, so everybody took their turn. Okay, so red starts the auction. And, you know, everybody's interested in this one because there are guns everywhere. Because what you can do is you can pass completely out of, like, the red has to bid. So they'll bid 1 credit. Actually, wait, this is like a pretty good card, actually. So red might... I think red might want to push a little bit. No, let's see how things develop. Okay, so red plays 1, then it's green. Green says, you know what, let's keep it mellow here. Yellow is going to jump up because they got a bunch of credits just then. They only have 1 move left, though. Oh, you know what? Yellow... I actually don't think yellow wants to be the... I think yellow's actually in trouble. So if you bid and auto get the item, are you just bidding for the stuff in the blue column? You're bidding for 2 things. You're bidding for, well, yes. So no, not just the blue column, but you're bidding for victory points. You're bidding for action tokens, and then of course you're incidentally bidding for turn order. But you have to bid to take a turn. So you're also bidding for the ability to take a turn. Like if you pass, here, let's have somebody pass. Let's just have blue pass. They would bid, but we can have them pass. Okay, now it's back to red. Red is very interested. Actually, they don't need a movement, so I think red is not going to stay in the round. It's really dumb for blue to pass, but let's have them pass. Okay, so now let's have green. Let's have green add and then pass. Okay, so what happens next is... So blue is completely out of the round. That was a huge mistake, but that is the case. Red, no. Green is the first player. I'm sorry. Green is the highest bidder. And then yellow. And then red. This is a great deal for red, actually. I think that's a really good deal. I think. Okay, so now green is going to get their victory points and a move token. So green is really ready to rock. And then also gain a gun for participating. Yellow gains, this is 7. So yellow gains 7 victory points. And that's it. Red, and a gun. Red gains 4. And a gun. Blue gains nothing and is out of the round. Okay, now it's red's turn. red. So red could go over here. They have 2 moves. What do they need to? I don't know. I don't remember if red knows what this is, but the odds are good that because they have 2 different items, the odds are pretty good that they could turn this in. But if it's a battery, then the cop is going to jump on top of them. So I think red is actually going to spend 2 movement. Ooh. No, red's going to peek. Okay, it is a gun, so they can spend 1 movement. Yeah, I think this little movement pool is really, really helpful. Because just everybody retained 1 at least. So they have a little flexibility. Okay, so now red is going to flip this card, gain 6 credits, and gain this card. And lose the gun. Okay, by doing that, they also move the cop 1 space. Now yellow has to decide what to do. Oh, you know what? I think yellow's going to pay the 3. I think that's one of the options. Let's have yellow pay the 3. They have big money, actually. Oh, what is this? Because if they just ignore the cop, they have big money. Actually, no, I think they're just going to ignore the cop. And just stay there and risk that this is a gun. Okay, so anyway, that was red. Yellow pays the cost and sticks around in this spot. Now it's yellow's turn, and I think yellow wants to risk this. Because then yellow's going to attack red. Oh, no! Yeah, let's do it. I didn't realize there'd be this much take that. And to be honest, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan. And it is a gun. So they spend the gun. They gain 6 money. So that worked out really well. Because they actually netted only 1, but like they're going to gain this card, which is 3 points. They're also going to advance the cop. And now red is confronted. So what's red going to do? Red still has a movement, so it's not the worst thing in the world to go back here. So let's have red actually go in here. And they pay 3 to do that. They still have a fair amount of money, and they get a peak token. And then they could trade victory points if they want, but they're not going to. This is all from, I know it's a kind of topsy-turvy space world where missiles are movement. So this is all the second auction. We're not even done yet. I have a feeling there are way too many auctions. Or we can just do the whole game in 1 round. Maybe there's no need for a second round. I mean, a second solar cycle. Maybe only one need for... Oh, only the need for 1 solar cycle. Right? Like after all this deliberation, and there are at least 7 more auction rounds. At least. There could be up to 9 more auction rounds. Yeah, I'm feeling one solar cycle is fine. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so where am I? I'm actually okay. We resolved. Red ran in here, took a peek, and now it's green's turn. So unfortunately, green cannot move through here to get this gun. Oh, we need to replace this guy. There's no peek available. You know what, though? Green has again, it's like a 2 in 3 chance. Actually, the odds are better than that for green because there are more guns than anything else. So there's a chance. Oh, so there's a chance that this is a. There is a chance that this is a water bottle, but it's unlikely to be a water bottle. So is red? Sorry, green doesn't necessarily need the money right now either. They have plenty movement. So you know, it'd be nice is if they get some peak stuff. You know, it'd be it might be exorbitant in terms of the cost. But what they could do technically, they can move out, move in, get a peak, and then move out. So they could do that because they have 3 moves. But that sounds very expensive. There's not really a great rush. So I think green is actually going to pass. Green is going to pass. They want some more information. Okay, and blue is just out of luck. No turn for blue. Okay, so this goes away. Let's move this guy over here. And then, okay, battery. And there's a peak. So we start with green. Green has to bid. And just leave it at 1 to participate. Because I think they might have some plans. No, actually, green kind of wants the peak, so let's push it a little bit. Let's go with the 3. Okay, and then yellow. They got money, and another battery wouldn't hurt anything. They could use a peak as well. Let's do. Sure, let's go 4. Why not? Blue is already feeling a little stressed about this, but they were knocked out of the last round. The thing is, do they need a turn right now? Because it's not a great chance that there are a bunch of batteries out there, and maybe getting another battery isn't that helpful. So blue's going to skip again. They're just going to pass. And then red also has another battery. And they're safe in the smuggler's den, so you know what though? This is sad that there might be an incentive. There might be good reason to not take a turn. That is maybe a problem. Like, think about this. Like, if I say it out loud, how bad does it sound? It's better for me to not take a turn in this game. Like, that sounds really bad, right? That sounds really, really bad. The game should not incentivize players to stay out of the game. Yeah, that sounds really bad. But at the same time, I don't know. I think to incentivize them to participate in the bid, but that's your mentality. I mean, it's like, but this is. I'm with you. I don't think it's horrible to stay out and like just realize, you know what, I need to save up my money for something I really want. At the same time, I don't love that turtling is possible, so that is kind of what's happening here. You have players who can just hang out in the middle until cards show up that they really like. There's no risk at all. There's no incentive to leave. So, and then for now, it's just a peak. Actually, red wants a turn. It's just that batteries are rare. So what do? Yeah, I think they're just going to pass. I think they're just going to stay out of the round. But they're also basically giving this away for 4. Okay, but let's go with it. So does green want to bid up? Green wants that peak, so let's do it. So I'll just put the 5 out there. They're running low, and yellow has plenty of money. Idea when every turn you spend in the center costs you a victory point. Ooh, a little bit of a tax. Interesting. I like the pressure to leave. I think that's good. It also, because that's like there's a pull away to go drop off stuff, but there's no push, right? That's kind of what we're highlighting. Is there's no push to leave. Interesting. You got it, Francisco. You read my mind on that, but because when would that happen? So I think we'd have to add a step. You'd have to add a step in a phase. There'd be like another thing to go through. Like another check, right? One thing I just thought of too, similar, it's that it just costs more, the auction costs more, maybe. So it's like +2 or +1. Every time you auction, you have to pay 1 to the smuggler den. So at least it could like be built in. But that is an idea. That's a good idea to like push people out somehow. Like if you're bidding and you're in the smuggler's den, it's another rule, but is this a problem? I don't know that this is a problem yet. I have the inkling that it is, but I don't know for sure. Where are we? Okay, so green is going to take it. Yellow's going to pass. Oh, interesting. So green wins 2 bids in a row. And those are the only 2 participating. So blue is out for another round. Okay, green takes the peak. And the battery. Yellow takes 1 victory point. $37-page rulebooks never hurt nobody. I hear that. Francisco. I hear that. I mean, it's not, there's already information here. Like, I don't know that anybody is really going to trade. They might. They might. Because, like, who's got the most VP right now? This guy is the most VP. So especially toward the end of the game, you might run back to the den and trade a little bit. So that's probably helpful there still. The peak is certainly helpful, but there could be a way to squeeze in a little more information. But I'll leave it alone for now because I don't know that it's a problem. Okay, so it's yellow's turn. Wait, yellow needs a battery. I think I gave them their victory point. I think that's what that was. Okay, yellow. Where is yellow? Yellow really wants a peak. They only have one movement, though. Is yellow just going to not do anything? I don't know. I'll be right back. Yellow, I think, is just going to stay. And green, what is green going to do? Okay, green has good. I think green's going to check this one. Okay. So he spent a peak. We'll head out into space. Green's going to jump out there. Flip this, send in the gun there, and gain this, gain 6 credits. And then this guy is going to advance. Oh, wait. Yes, he advances 1 space. And then we'll replace that. Here's what I'm realizing. There are going to be too many items in the game. Like you just can't. You can never. You can never sell these batteries. So you might as well use them for other places, like you, because there are only 4 batteries in this whole deck, this whole item deck, and there are 4 batteries already among all the players. So they're never, not all players are going to be able to sell these, and we've already sold one actually. So these players, they might as well just start burning their batteries. But that also just means kind of like denying other players getting the like getting the items, getting the right match. So it could be that once you get a bunch of batteries, you just go around haphazardly and just like do terribly in with a bunch of contracts just to get them off the board. Maybe. Okay, so that was. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Have a productive day. I'll see you soon. I appreciate that you don't do the old Irish goodbye. Okay. So green delivered and got their contract. Okay, so this goes away. Next one. Another battery. I mean, the solar storm is coming, so. Okay, so the first bidder is going to be green. Wow, that rain is really coming now. Okay, so we're bidding. So green, oh, these are gone. Green starts, and they don't really care about movement or battery, but they have to bid. And this guy still has a lot of credits. This guy. Both of these actually are doing okay. We can have yellow stay in. Yeah, because still lots of money. Blue wants to take a turn for sure. Oh wait, let's do this. So blue wants a turn. Red also wants a turn. So it's at 4. I need 4. Okay. Okay, so everybody's in. Let's have everybody pass. Okay, so it's going to be red, blue, yellow, and green. Okay. So blue takes, red takes 4. They're doing pretty good victory points wise, and a movement. They also have a peak. Blue takes 3. This is their first victory point, so tricky. Yellow takes nothing. Oh wait, everybody takes a battery. And then green just takes the battery, so that's it for them. Okay, now green can go. I think green's just gonna send it. Just make it happen. Okay, they're just gonna get 3 credits. And this guy is gonna move 1 space. That was actually risky because it could have been a water bottle. But now yellow's gonna go. Oh, this goes away. It gets replaced. Oh, do they just try for this one again? Wait, they lost the battery. Do they go again? Let's try again. Just another battery. They're just wasting them. So gain another 3 credits. This guy advances. What's yellow gonna do? Oh no, yellow. Yellow's got a lot of money. So yellow decides to burn these and stays. Now green needs to move out of there. Oh wait, this goes away. And this comes in. Green's going to move out of there and take a peek. Interesting. A little dramatic. Okay. Now it's yellow. That was kind of interesting. So yellow's also going to turn in their battery here and nails it. So yellow's going to get a ton of money and this battery. Now this guy's going to move twice. So he clears out that area. This gets replaced. That was pretty sweet. Okay, now what about blue? Blue has a battery. He needs some money, so why not just move blue out? And check. Sure. And got battery. So blue's gonna take 10 money, 10 credits. Lose the battery. And now this guy moves twice. So yellow is potentially in trouble. Again, but they have tons of money because that worked out last time. Batteries are going to be running low, so there's still kind of good reason. Okay, what's red up to? Jump down here. I think red's going to do it just to get moving. Okay, not going to get this. Going to get 3 credits instead. Spent a movement to do that. That's everybody. Okay, here's a nice looking card. But you know what? I think I've seen enough here today. What about a flood of certain items? Flash flood warning on Oahu. Anyway, I'm at just over 2 hours today's stream. Happy to have been productive. Glad to finally get back to Solar Smugglers. I feel like a lot of it's working. I'm also glad I noticed just how long things are taking. I would never want to do 2 full solar cycles if this is the case, which I think is actually good. I think that means that this is working and it's like taking some time to process what's good. I think that flexibility early on, coming from having movement and peak token like from for setup, I think is great. I think it's a huge, very positive update. And I just don't know, like, everybody getting all these items. I mean, you're just going to have stuff sitting around. And so there might also be an exchange, an item exchange. So you should be able to do that. So anyway, I feel really good about this. I also really enjoyed the rulebook look of Fox Flip and really wish Ryan luck with that situation. Anyway, I think that's it for me for today. Please pray for us and those dealing with flooding and all that kind of thing. I know it's going to be a tough weekend for many people. Anyway, okay. All right. Bye-bye for now.